Now, there's been a major development in the Madeleine McCann case. Portuguese police are going to carry out new searches in the Algarve, near where the little girl went missing 16 years ago. Local media reports that the reservoir near Silves, about 50 kilometres from Praia de Luz, was visited by the main suspect in the disappearance, a man who's been named as Christian B. The convicted child abuser and drug dealer has not been charged, and of course he does deny any involvement in the case. I'm joined now by Jim Gamble, who led the initial British investigation into Madeleine McCann's disappearance. Jim, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. How important a development is this, and have you guys already searched this particular reservoir?
Well, my initial involvement was through CEOP sending out behavioural psychologists to support, and then I later carried out a review for the Home Secretary Alan Johnson, looking what had and what had not been done, and what indeed should be done again. And I have to say that this site, the reservoir, which is about 40 minutes from the scene where Madeleine went missing, was searched in February and March of 2008. Now, that was funded by a local lawyer, and it was not the police teams that you would expect that carry that out. I think what's particularly interesting is that the German police have been absolutely 100% focused on this investigation. They believe that he is the right person, that they're suspect, that they have in custody for another crime. And they haven't wavered from that. And given what I know about the German police and having worked with them in the past, they're generally quite conservative and quite cautious. So there's a high level of confidence with them that they are on the right track. So what will be interesting to see over the next few days is what they do that's different. I'm sure it'll be a much more, because it's the German police who are leading this, facilitated by the Portuguese, and that's important. And I think they'll do a much more rigorous search. And I'm hoping that it's based on some information they have, which they haven't as yet shared with the wider public, so that it's more targeted. And of course, they will have the full range of technical resources available to them to make a search more effective.
We are now, unfortunately, so many years on from the initial disappearance of Madeleine McCann. This reservoir is pretty vast, isn't it? How hopeful are you of finally finding Maddie here?
Well, the truth is I wouldn't pin my hopes on this. I think it's another line of inquiry. I think because it's coming from the German police investigation, that makes it extremely interesting. But we're going to have to wait and see. If they're just searching the entire area, then I think I'm not hopeful. If they're searching specific areas with a specific intent and a deliberate focus, then that means they're operating on the back of new information or new intelligence. And I think the key issue for me, and that people should be aware of, is this. He is, a prime suspect. He absolutely fits the profile of the type of criminal that would commit this crime. And we know that opportunity was there through significant circumstantial evidence that the German police have to hand. And some of that evidence we already had. But the key is this. I've also seen investigations where we've become so focused on one offender and spend so much time and so many years and resources chasing down that lead that we miss, another potential suspect. So I think this is a situation where we need to wait and see what comes out of it. And we need to remind people watching your programme, if you were in Praia de Luz, if you did visit the reservoir area in the day or days immediately after this, did you see anything? Because it's never too late to reflect on something you saw and report it into Operation Grange, who will share it with the Portuguese and German police.
Absolutely. It's important as well to know, apparently, just off reports, they're searching some of the woodland around this reservoir as well, so it doesn't seem like it's just going to be a kind of water-based search, as it were. Jim, I've got to ask you, what chance is there, in your view, that Maddie is still alive?
Well, whenever we produced the original CEOP Minute for Madeleine McCann video several years after she'd gone missing, we did some research because we were trying to prompt the conscience of someone who knew what had happened, or indeed the person that was involved. And in that research, we found 11 cases where children who'd been abducted had, returned, had been refound many years later. I mean, so it does happen. The Beast of Belgium cases in the United States. But of course, as time goes on, we become more desperate, but we should never lose hope. And I think that is the key. I, for one, am never going to accept that Madeleine McCann is dead up to and until I see evidence of it. My primary goal is that we find out exactly what has happened to this little girl, and that's the key. The German police are very good. They are very focused, and they really do have the bit between their teeth.